so I have a different look. The day after December graduation, the impulse struck me, and so I shaved off the goatee, and then I had to tell the people at church the next morning, never date a Philistine woman. A week from tomorrow, January 15th, is the deadline for priority admission to Northwest Christian University, and it's in about 7 days after that deadline that we're going to start giving away the forensic scholarships. We have 6 of them, $2,000 a year, and there are a few details you need to know, but I'm going to get to that in the last section of this video. But I wanted to say a few things to anybody who may be considering NCU, and what I want to do is, I first of all want to give you a little free advice about not choosing a college for just one thing about the college. Secondly, I want to talk kind of briefly about some of the things I think NCU gets right. And third, I want to give some details about how the scholarship, the forensic scholarship, works and how that fits in with my vision for the forensics team. So the first thing is, I really would strongly urge you, whether you're considering NCU or whether you're primarily looking at other colleges, not to make the mistake of choosing a college for just one reason. Years ago, when I was first a teaching assistant at the University of Georgia, a lot of my friends put together a list of the dumb reasons that people choose a college. We were primarily teaching freshmen, so we heard about these reasons a lot. So there was, first of all, I go here because my parents went here. Now that may mean they got a break on the tuition, and that may be rational, but sometimes they weren't getting a break. It's just, my dad was a Georgia Bulldog, and so I have to be a Georgia Bulldog too. That's dumb. A second dumb reason was, well, I'm going here because my boyfriend or girlfriend is going here. That's really dumb. Third dumb reason was, well, I'm going here because I've always rooted for the football team. That's breathtakingly dumb. And then one of the reasons that I added to the list, because I was one of the assistant debate coaches, I said I came to Georgia because I wanted to be on the University of Georgia debate team. Because we had some students who did that. They didn't even know what majors Georgia offered. They said they'd figure out what they wanted to major in when they got around to it. But they knew about the Georgia debate team, and debate was the biggest thing in their lives, and they wanted to go to a college that had a great debate team, and that's what it was all about. And that's a dumb reason. I have had a handful of students over the years tell me that I made a very good first impression on them, and they decided they wanted me for a forensics coach. Well, I got news for you, if that describes you. If you were to come here and be on the forensics team at NCU, there would be days when you were completely frustrated with me. There might even be days when you were completely fed up with me and had had enough of me and wouldn't care if you never saw me again. And if I am the only or even the chief reason that you came to the school, that's just not a very smart, sustainable reason. So what I want to urge you to do as you're deciding on a college is investigate the whole thing. Try the whole thing on for fit. See what majors they offer, and do a little digging, a little looking into who are the faculty that teach the courses, what are the courses that are offered, how is that major regarded, what kind of reputation does it have. Learn a lot about the academic end of things. Give some thought to the geography, give some thought to the surrounding community. You're going to live there for longer than it seems, several years of your life. Find out something about the campus culture. A campus visit is ideal. The admissions department here at NCU is a big believer in campus visits. They give a scholarship to people who will come for a campus visit, just $50, but it adds up. Because what they found is when people who will be a good fit at NCU come and make a campus visit and take a campus tour, if they're really going to fit, you can't get them off this campus with a crowbar. And if they're not going to fit, they tend to figure it out when they get a look at how things work and how the students interact with one another. So, the first thing is, I really would encourage you, do not choose a college for one thing and one thing alone. The second thing I want to do is I want to talk about two things that I think NCU gets right. I think that NCU gets a handful of things, a collected set of things right relative to the rest of higher education in general. And then I think there are some things that we get right relative to a lot, not all, but a lot of the rest of Christian higher education. What you will not find at NCU is you will not find a football team. You will not find 4 or 5 new buildings being put up every year. You will not find huge volumes of money coming in the door because we do not have tens of thousands of students that we herd into lecture halls and teach them lower division classes in batches of 600 students. You won't find that. Instead, what you'll find is you'll find small classes, you'll find no classes taught by teaching assistants, faculty teach, And the money that comes in the door is plowed right back into the mission of educating the students. You will not find publish or perish. So you will not find faculty who've written 50 books and 200 articles because cranking out a new book and 20 articles every year was their only path to promotion and job security. Here at NCU, the faculty do research and do publish our research because it's important that we stay current and it's important that we be respected experts in the field, but our promotion and tenure is a big part of it is based on, can we make it happen in the classroom? And throughout a lot of higher education, that's simply not how they measure who is it that they want to keep and who is it that they want to elevate among their faculty members. So that's something I think that we get right, both when it comes to money and both when it comes to research versus teaching. We make it about our mission is to educate students, not to make our reputation bigger, not to make our store of resources bigger, not to make our name bigger. But the outcome we want is educated students. Now, the thing that I think we get right compared to a lot of Christian higher education is we're not a bubble. We do not try to put a barrier of safety around ourselves. Our campus is not located way far away from where things are happening in our community. We are across the street from the University of Oregon, and we're a few blocks, a quick walk from downtown Eugene, Oregon, which actually on the West Coast is a magnet for runaway kids. And so there is a strong consensus among a critical mass of the NCU student body that we should always be on mission. And most, if not all, NCU students, usually multiple times while they are here, are involved in some sort of outreach. Sometimes it's overseas missions, and we send people to Mexico, we send people to Cambodia, we've sent people to Uganda, but very often it's starting our missions right in our own backyard where we find need. In downtown Eugene, where there are runaway kids who need someone to listen, need someone to pay attention, and need someone to tell them about how Christ's love for them is better than whatever drove them away from their home in the first place. So, those are things that I think NCU gets right. I'm not going to claim it's a perfect school. I have taught at a number of schools, and every single one of them had flaws. They're all human-created institutions, and they're all going to let you down in one way or another. But the things that NCU gets right, I think, are important things. Now, the third and final thing that I want to talk about very briefly is I want to talk about the Forensics Scholarship. Once again, it's $2,000. It's renewable annually. And we have 6 scholarships to give, and we have not had 6 applicants yet. So if you're thinking that, well, there are too many other very high-caliber applicants who've probably already sent everything in, and I don't have a chance, I am pleased with the applicant pool we have already, but it doesn't mean that we have so many applicants that we can call off the search and say, don't even bother applying anymore. The thing about the NCU Forensics Scholarship that makes it different from any other forensics scholarship I have ever heard of is if you come to NCU on a forensics scholarship, for the first 2 years that you are here, you will earn that scholarship by participating as a member of the team. At the end of those 2 years, you can continue to compete as a member of the team if you wish, but that will mean relinquishing the scholarship. At the end of 2 years, if you want to keep the scholarship, you will then become a peer coach. You will coach other people on the team. Now, you will not coach people who are already competing in the JV and the open division. Instead, that's the point where you reach out to your friends, through the relationships that you have made in the very tight-knit NCU campus community, and you encourage people, and you do a lot of hand-holding to get people to overcome their fear and step out boldly to experience forensics, to hone their skills and their confidence for it to become thinkable to them that they can stand in front of an audience and speak the truth boldly, clearly, and with impact. My vision for the NCU Forensics program is like this. Because we are small, because we do not hoard resources, we don't go to 15 tournaments a year, and we are not positioning ourselves to try to bring home any national championship trophies. Instead, we are trying to restore a heritage that previous NCU communication professors spent decades building up and that we unfortunately let crumble a little while back. Let me explain. School was founded in 1895 as a Bible college. You could major in Bible, Bible, or Bible. In 1899, they opened up the second major, the School of Oratory. Now, this is a good 20 years before an article appeared in an English journal on the literary criticism of oratory, which was the founding of the modern communication studies field. So, Northwest Christian had a communication department before communication departments were a normal thing in colleges across the country. And for much of the school's history, the most renowned professors, a professor by the name of Francis Highland, a professor by the name of Ed McIndoe, another professor by the name of Lee Lane, the ones that the alumni, when they talked about the education they got at Northwest Christian, those were the names that rolled off their lips, and they were the communication professors. And we have a trustee who's an alum of the school. He's also an Oregon State Senator. He's also an extremely successful business owner. His name is Frank Morse. And when he was here for a trustees meeting about 3 years ago, in his informal remarks at the end of the meeting, he said, "You've always been able to tell a Northwest Christian graduate from a University of Oregon graduate or a Willamette graduate or a Lewis and Clark graduate or anybody else when they got on their feet and opened their mouth and began to talk." Now, when Dr. Lane retired a while back, we went through a few communication professors in a few years, and communication went from being one of the largest majors on the campus and from being something that permeated the campus. It shrank, it deflated. And what I'm trying to do with the forensics team is I want to bring that back. I want to spread through the culture of the student body that to be a beacon means to be a speakin' beacon. Right now, Speakin' Beacons is the nickname of our forensics team. What I want in the end is for it to be just a given for all the freshmen to learn from all the upperclassmen. Oh, and one of the things you do when you're an NCU student, you don't have to be on the forensics team all 4 years or anything, but you go to a tournament at least once. And we do it because all of us graduating from NCU, we all want to be powerful speakers. Because we have been entrusted with the truth and the world needs to hear it. So, if you were to come to NCU on the forensics scholarship, you would have a privileged position that I don't have, because I do my best, I work as hard as I can, but there are some things students will not believe when they hear from a faculty member. I can tell them they're capable of doing this. They'll be better at it than they think they're going to be. But if a friend tells them, then they'll listen. And if a friend will agree to help them and coach them, then they'll give it a try. So, those are some things I have to say about picking a college, about some things I think NCU gets right, and about the nature of the NCU Forensic Scholarship. January 15th is the date, the deadline for priority admission, and between January 15 and January 22, we're going to do the decision making to give away the Forensic Scholarships, the batch of 6 that we have to give away. So even though you may not know everything about NCU that you need to know to decide and to eliminate all other options and commit to coming to NCU, you may not be ready, you may not be to that point yet, I still would encourage you, if NCU feels like it might be a good fit, go ahead and apply, go ahead and get your materials in for the Forensic Scholarship, and then start the prayerful process of seeing where God is leading you and what's right for you.